much for that. Who else do I see? Hi, Kukua.
Hi, Auntie Edem.
How are you?
I'm doing well, and you?
Great. So, what will be your thoughts on this subject matter?
I think this is a sticky one, but um, I won't entirely dismiss it as irrelevant because I understand that my mates go through a lot of hormonal changes, if I want to put it that way.
Right.
But I think that it's really about a balance and not getting overly involved in it so that you're not doing anything that would have adverse effects later on. So I'd say it's a balance, but then yes, it will still boil back to the fact that you have to be more focused on putting things in place that will help you achieve your life goals. Yeah.
I see. So, I want to find out from you, do your parents have such conversations with you?
Yes, but then I think they're more comfortable with my mom. Like I can tell her, okay, mommy, I like this boy. I think I like this boy. But my dad, I won't venture.
How so?
What are you doing with a boy,
Liking a
first of
boy.
all? Why are you going to talk about that? So my mom will, listen, but then she'll be giving you eyes, but at least she'll listen. And if she thinks that, okay, this is not time, she'll tell you, what, it's not the time, you
Okay,
know.
again, when you say that you like this boy, or yeah, what do you mean? What does it mean?
What does it mean?
Yes.
Um, this is the
Because I hear it a lot. Oh, I think I like this person. The person is cool and all that. What does it mean? And especially so if you have to talk to your mom about it or talk to somebody about it, then it means something, right?
yes, yes.
Uh-huh.
I
So
think it's when you get to the point. I would say it's love. I don't know about that, but I think that that's the point where you realize that okay, I think I really, really admire this person. Maybe you really understand the person, you can really relate with the person, maybe you match energies, um, you admire the person. I mean, yes, that's
Muy
on that
optimism, pa, pa,
on
pa, 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 pa.
Amani Ami who was school. Amani Ami who was
You know
classroom.
why I started with this subject matter? It's an area that a lot of parents struggle with, a lot of guardians struggle with, because we had this conversation with Notte, and Notte, I'll be picking your thoughts on this very soon before I come to Pakojo and Olivia in the studio. It's a subject that a lot of parents struggle with, and we've had this conversation before. Once they get to that age, yes, like she rightly said, there are hormonal changes. Like it or leave it, I mean, and then you're exposed to a lot of things. So the thought of, do I, get myself involved? How do I yield or not yield? What do I do? What you are, you're saddled with a lot of these things as a youngster. And for us parents, we know that this this thing can, it can, if you're not careful, it can mess you up. We had one guest in the studio some time ago who talked about how her daughter got pregnant and all that. You remember, I think Mr. Affo introduced him to us. And I mean, he told us a very sad story. We've had conversations about how parents end up sending their children away because they feel like, I spoke to you and you didn't listen, and how young people will hide clothes in their bags, tell their parents that I'm going here, you step out, and then you get to the mall, you see them, and then they change into something else because you want to look attractive to the opposite sex and all that. And so we understand that at this age, you have a lot of things going on, there. And I have a feeling that we may not be scoring any points as parents when all we do is tell you that don't go here, it's not right, you can't do this. No, no. There's something driving it, and we all need to understand it. So I like your honesty about it. And Kwabena said that, look, he laughed about it and also said that, yeah, it happens, however he thinks it is premature, and that's very true. Now, Note, if you can hear me and see me as well. Daniela, is Note there? I can't see Note.
Hi, Adam.
Yes,
I hope you
Note,
can hear me.
great, good
I'm on here.
morning.
Morning. How are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm okay. Apart
Great.
from waking up to join you guys.
Thank you. So now we have quite a number of the teenagers on the call listening to us, and we started with this subject matter because every time we said we'll talk about it, we don't get there, and then our time is up. But it's important, and so we want to start with it today. When it comes to beginning to like the opposite sex, having feelings for the opposite sex, and all those things. They're trying to hide it from us. We don't understand why we're telling them not to do it. I'm just wondering, for us parents and for the students, how, or for the children, let me put it that way, what do we both need to know and how do we draw that balance?
Okay, thanks, Edem, and good morning to your listeners. Good morning to the teams that are on uh, via Zoom. I guess you don't have teams in the studio. But yeah, we need to understand development, human development. So the teens need to know that this is a programmed process.
Mm.
It's a journey. So yes, you come into the world, you're a little bundle of joy to the family and so on and so forth. And then, you continue your development outside the womb. Don't forget, within the womb, you were developing physically, even emotionally, psychologically. Within the womb, yes, babies uh, respond to so many things, and these things can be proven and demonstrated. But once you start to grow and you're out in the world, so many things come into play. Now there's the need for toilet training, there's the need for this, you're learning how to crawl, how to walk, how to talk. So many developmental changes that are critical. Indeed, we talk of developmental milestones. And we can actually put these in a certain time frame for the average person. So at a certain age, we expect you to start trying to sit up, crawl, do all these kinds of things. So I'm just giving you the developmental framework.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to adolescence, the period we're talking about, there's a lot happening to you physically or biologically, mentally or cognitively, and of course, socially, right? You can imagine your child growing up struggling, learning how to share space, toys, etc. Now you have a developing person with a developing brain, and let me move from brain, the physical, to mind, what the physical controls. So now they perceive and process things differently. Parents will have difficulties even communicating. There'll be many fights, many issues, arguments, and there'll be some areas of agreements and so on and so forth. Now, there's physical changes, right, that lead you to reproductive maturity or puberty, as we say, are very, very critical, but they do come along with a lot of psychological issues and challenges that we all learn or struggle to manage. Alongside these changes, which are programmed, will come the interest and the direct awareness of the opposite sex. Indeed, when they are younger, when you say Margaret likes Kweku, Margaret will weep and cry. Same as Kweku, right? It's like, ugh, okay? But over time, there's an emerging interest, and this is programmed, and this is important. By all means, we must, continue the species, right? So in terms of reproductive functioning and all that, all these changes are critical to the survival of the human race. But we must also, alongside that, learn to develop relationships. Some of them may lead to more commitment-based intimacy and all that. And this starts to unfold. So yes, the young teenager or teenage girl or boy who was not interested in Margaret or Marianne or Esinam or whatever in his class now is forging deeper interest. It's important how you perceive this development. Is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? Am I abnormal? Is it happening to my friends, my peers? So they need parents who also understand, anticipate, and envisage, and hopefully can manage these changes, right? Why am I interested in the opposite sex? Why am I thinking about them instead of my books? I heard somebody earlier talking about your focus should be on your books. Yes, your focus should be on your books, but remember that all the education, all the socialization are things we have layered on top of what essentially starts as biological, right? So education is not a biological or physical need, you see. Socialization isn't, but now all these things are happening at the same time, and unfortunately at a very high speed for teenagers. So yes, parents need to be aware of this. They need to plan and program for these things. And you see, when I hear you mention hormones, every time hormones come in, people only think and talk about sexuality. Hormones do a lot of things. They coordinate a lot of things,
Sure.
right? Including that. So you need to now start. I mean, for example, Edem, I've said this on your show before. Young girls start to bud breasts. Depending on the age, the timing, this could be a very uncomfortable physical development that she wants to hide. And she can be teased for, she can be given names for, right? If you are an early maturer in your group, in your class, the fact that you may need even support or a brazier, right? Maybe a source of worry, concern, you name it. Of course, mind you, if your parents are also not prepared for somebody who is in their teens or a bit younger, now having to contend with these issues, then there are many problems. So many of our teens have body issues, things to do with their physical development. A boy has a voice that hasn't broken and still sounds like a girl, and that's a problem. Now put that problem of lacking a masculine voice but being interested in the opposite sex, right? These are all challenges that the typical teen will. It's important for us to understand them, understand that they will happen. They do not necessarily mean that your child or your teenager is a bad person. And you need to be able to discuss these things on a legitimate platform, appreciating their intelligence, their awareness, appreciating and legitimizing their interest, and understanding that these relationships will form. And of course, the typical potholes and speed ramps, broken hearts, disappointment, will come. And if you can put them within this developmental framework, then you're better positioned and able to help your team.
Great. So I get the bit about the programming, and by the time Note is done, I still realize that a lot of it still rests on us parents, because that is how the human is wired. You will definitely get to that stage. Now, so we parents, we still have a lot of work to do. Now, for the parents, and I just want us to touch on that and then we can move on. For the parents who don't themselves understand these things very well and you're not sure how to approach it, I want to find out, most likely, what can happen if you are the type who just shuts out your child. You don't want them to talk about it because you have laid it down that it is not a good thing, you can't go there. And so whatever they are feeling, they are keeping it to themselves. They are not talking to you about it. And because they are not talking about it, you feel like, yes, I have trained my child so well that they are not, having those conversations and they're not feeling those things. If they are not talking to you about it, they're not having conversations about it, and you're not engaging them, what can happen? Nati, are you there?
Edem.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, Nati.
Yeah. You were saying something about the management.
That, yes. I mean, if you have parents who won't have these conversations, no matter what we are saying here, right from childhood or when you're growing, they've told you that this is not a conversation to be had. But you're feeling things in your body, like you were saying. You're asking, why do I seem to be, interested in this person and all that? You're supposed to focus on your books and all that. And parents and guardians don't want these conversations to be had, and so the young ones are bottling all of this. These up. I'm asking that. What can possibly happen if we're not giving them the platform to have these conversations with us?
Okay. So I hope you can still hear me, right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So, well, these days we don't have a choice. Either you're having these conversations and preparing your child, or somebody is having these conversations with them. It could be their own peer. you can learn, you can grope in the dark, Edem, and many do, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
the truth is, social media is socializing your child and having that conversation. Peers are doing that, and so you've got to be in that game. You've got to be, should I say, a trusted resource. Even if you are both you and you, both parent and child are scared of what they are discussing, you must be in there.
You must be in
You
there.
cannot be left out of this very important discussion. But mind you, it's not a discussion. You see, zeroing in your scope, your search, heading towards intercourse is not the way to go about it. Indeed, I hear sex education, which I believe is totally wrong.
Yeah.
It's sexuality,
Education.
sexuality education,
Yeah.
which puts it in a whole bigger context.
Mm-hmm.
How you value and recognize, are comfortable with your own body and its
True.
function before you even think about somebody else. What do you know about your body, right? Because when we don't put it in this context, then it looks like as soon as you're talking to mommy and daddy about
They
this,
think
you're a
you're
bad
talking
person,
about it.
or you're actually doing it already.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings in veto power and all sorts of, should I say, bizarre reactions and responses that can, teach a child to keep quiet. So don't forget the influences are diverse, complex, and dynamic
True.
in the world we live in today. I'm talking to you via Zoom. Do you know what your child learns via Zoom, YouTube, Google, Twitter, right?
Yeah.
There's a joke at them about a father who called his son and said, "Son, we need to talk about sex." And his, 9-year-old son says, "Yeah, sure, Dad. What do you want to know?"
You want to know?
So he's been waiting for you to be bold enough to come and
Come up.
face the music, and then here you are, and you're coming with some fallacies or screensavers and other things, and
No.
maybe your child is laughing at you because somebody has given the full 9-1. You see, so you've got to understand that this is something you pick up very early. I know we're talking to teens, we're talking with teens, and they're talking to us. But let's be mindful that this should start way, way, way earlier. Your flexibility and availability and comfort to talk to your child about anything and everything is a critical pillar in their development.
Great. Not
So
yeah.
whether it is about politics, whether it is about reproduction, I mean, we kill what, chickens, goats, and whatever, and kids watch. Or somebody once said, the dogs are doing it again, mom. Explain. Okay, so you can't dodge. It is there. You've cut the chicken. There are parts of the chicken. A child asks you, where does the egg come from? Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't see anything, and we have eggs. Why? So you have many opportunities earlier on to lay the foundations and build your own comfort as a parent, build your own capacity and resource. And so we want the informed parent. We don't want you parenting by accident. We don't want you parenting by force
I like that.
or by chance, right? As many are doing, you see. So when you do that, you tell your child and you confirm for your child that you're not the pillar.
Great.
And don't
Not
forget, this is a period of assertion of their independence to a certain level, right?
okay.
They can push you and push the boundaries of independence, and the next minute they are crying like a child. It's a very
Great.
difficult balance.
Not
I'm
I
of
want
age,
us
I'm
to
this and that,
I
right?
want you
And
to
then
also
suddenly they are crying.
yeah. I'd like you to
Yes,
share
go ahead.
some I'd like you to share some thoughts with the teenagers as well. They also have responsibilities when it comes to these things, right? And so what will be your
Sure.
advice to them on this subject matter? And then I will come to Olivia and Pakojo in the studio.
Oh, okay. Oh, good morning to them. I wasn't sure whether I was on my own flying solo. Great to have support. Right. So yeah, there's a lot happening to your body. There's a lot you do not know. Though it seems as if your brain is like a V8 uh, engine. So you are charged, you are energized. You want to experiment, you want to find out, you want to explore. And along with that thrust of development and the pace of it come many pitfalls and many accidents and challenges, right? Though everybody wants to talk about teenage pregnancy and all, there are many other things that hurt and break you. Even somebody commenting on your pimples, which will develop at this stage as well, right? Your looks and so on. So as teens, start knowing that yes, your peers are a resource, but there's skilled labor out there, all right? And there are parents and adults who've been through these phases. In the past, we had traditional practices and many other things that guide and shepherd young girls and boys into these important spaces and discussions alongside their physical and cognitive development. So be comfortable asking questions. Be comfortable with the uncomfortable, or be comfortable with announcing the uncomfortable. It's very important that you are able, in a meaningful way, to signal what you're going through, how you're feeling, what is going on in your life, physically and otherwise, to the people who are responsible for you. So don't worry if you don't sound okay or you don't sound like an expert. You are not an expert, right? And sounding like that also accounts for the building of walls by some parents. But if we are exploring together and growing together and understanding that these are normal processes, then that assertion, that thrust of independence and knowledge and so on and so forth can be balanced with an anchor, a bedrock, a pillar that supports you. Even you go and get into trouble, you are able to come back to this approachable, firm but friendly parent. By all means, they'll set limits for you. By all means. Okay? Understanding the limits is the key. By all means, they'll set limits. And lastly, before I hand over to the others, Edem, I always talk about parenting style. It's very important. And just briefly, we can talk of those who give freedom without limits. You go find out. If you burn yourself, fine. Okay? That's freedom without limits. Okay? Then you have freedom within limits. Within limits. You can go to the party, but come at this time.
Yeah.
It's still freedom. Okay?
Yes.
And then we have limits without freedom, which is when I say jump, you say how high, finish. Okay? So within this context of these three types, okay, without going, when I break it down this way, I guess it's understandable.
Great.
You start to see that it has a different impact on children. I have a resource that gives me clear boundaries, but understands that I need freedom, allows me to breathe. So I tell them what I do, and I feel safe. I feel loved. I feel protected. I feel guided. But limits without freedom, hey, Charlie, which one is this? Okay?
That's it, thank
So
you.
parents also, alongside what I just said, need to know which type they are practicing. Okay? Because it has an impact on the children. Sometimes you are a different type with different children. With your firstborn, you are like this. With the other one, you are like that. And they say, hey, when it was so and so, you did it this way. Start understanding your style and how it is a critical, non-negotiable impact on your child's development. When children are given the right guidance, the right information, they make the right decision. So the things we are talking about now, Edem, to some parents, it's like, hey, not this morning. It's important. When armed and equipped, right? Edem has gone to bring trouble, you see. But the truth is, it's already raging in their minds. Suddenly somebody is talking about the need for you to dress a certain way because your body has changed.
True.
For you to be mindful of this. Suddenly a teen is saying, oh, thank God for home affairs.
Yeah.
Right? Suddenly a parent is saying, thank God for home affairs. So the teen should know, feel free to ask, but you should be exploring in faith. There are a lot of bumps and bigger things out there that you need help to traverse.
Thank you. Note, thank you very, 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 very much. We appreciate this. Thank you. Now back to us here in the studio and back to our teenagers on Zoom. Are you there? I hope everybody was listening, right? Were we listening?
Yes,
Yeah, I
please.
see them nodding. All right, great. So the next thing I want us to talk about, and it's one of the things that we parents, guardians, and you people deal with a lot. When we are not happy with something, look, your child can be unhappy, And I know some of the teenagers, they can lock themselves up. When I say some of these things, they can so relate, and then you see them smiling all over the place. They are very unhappy. But then how to communicate it, or that I don't like this that my mother or my father has done. My teacher has done this. I am not too comfortable with it. Even with your friends, right? How do you manage those emotions? How do you communicate your dislike for things that parents do, your friends do, your guardians do, your teachers do? Those ones that can hurt you so deep that you just want to coil and be by yourself. Sometimes you end up feeling like, I don't belong here. I am not loved. I'm not liked, And how we manage our insecurities as young people, because I know you understand what I am talking about, and I know that you go through them. How do you deal with them? How do you communicate it? Let me hear from maybe 3 of you, and then I will talk to Olivia and Pakujo to find out when they notice these things, because it can affect a child in so many ways, depending on how it's handled. Can affect your academic life. It can affect a lot of things, because you feel like there's a pain inside of me. I am unable to communicate. I don't even know if I will be understood. How do I even start it? Can you relate? Do you understand what I am saying? Chaitanya, do you understand what I am saying?
Yeah,
Can you relate?
kind of.
Kind of. Okay, who is able to relate? That there are times that your parents do stuff that you're not comfortable with, your teachers, your friends, you're not happy with, and it hurts you so much. How do you deal with that hurt? How do you deal with that hurt? Ajwa?
Yes.
I like the way she said yes. Tell me, how do you deal with, those negative emotions?
Well, for me, I wouldn't say I deal with them in the best of ways because I'm still learning how to manage my emotions and my mood swings. Because it can be very hard at times to voice out your opinions, especially to someone you may perceive as a person to not take outside opinions easily. So it can be very hard at times to express yourself to somebody who has hurt you, but you know that they won't take it very well. So it's easier to ball up the emotions, but I wouldn't say that's advisable too, because balling up the negative emotions can lead to a sudden outburst at the most inconvenience of times. So I really don't have an appropriate answer to this question because I'm not sure what the answer would be.
But have you
this is
been
my
have you
opinion.
been pained before?
Yes.
And do you remember how you dealt with it?
The way I would normally deal with
Which is how?
um if it's somebody really close to me, let's say my sister or my brother, and if I feel like it's better to talk it out because I live with them and I can't just go on in the house giving them the silent treatment because it wouldn't really do anything to them. So we'd probably sit down and then I'd hear what they have to say and they'd want to hear what I have to say. But that's my siblings. Concerning schoolmates, I normally just keep quiet and then be there.
Okay, great. But have you had to fall out with a friend because they hurt you very bad?
I wouldn't say fall out because for me, I'm not very social and open like that. I normally keep to myself most of the times. There are very few people that I would consider friends at my school, but I'm not also one to block out people and disregard them as human beings because I'm friendly, yes, but I'm not a very social person. So I have fallen out with some people, but I still like talk to them and communicate with them. If they ask me for help, I would obviously help them, but
You
I
keep a
haven't
distance.
completely shut out anybody ever
I see.
from my life.
Interesting. Danielle.
Hi.
Hi, Danielle.
I think that in the community that we find ourselves in, as in the African community, no matter how, with some parents, no matter how well you articulate your feelings or come to them about something, the simple fact that you're telling them that something they did is making you feel a certain way might be offensive to them. So I think like some parents, it depends on who your parents are, because some of them might actually take it into consideration and listen to how you're feeling. But some parents will take offense no matter how well you put it or how respectful you come to them with your problems.
Great. But have you approached them before?
Well,
About
yes.
something any of them did that hurt you?
Well, yes.
How did it go?
Well, with my dad, he's more receptive to, let me say, criticism. Like he's more willing to accept that, oh, he was in the wrong, and I don't know, talk about feelings. My mom, on the other hand, it's not
Oh my God.
it's not really that easy. Like you really need to take your time and make it very clear that you are not disrespecting her, because it can go sideways very easily.
I see. Dorinda,
Yeah.
I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Well, my parents fall under the category of people who are very open to discussions about feelings. And I realized that when I hit 13, that they would often sit me down and ask me, oh, I'm not someone who can really process my anger and emotions very well. So I tend to, maybe listen to music to calm down, go for walks and stuff like that, because I know it's something I can't handle on my own. And then when I'm ready, I would approach them. And the thing is, when you approach your parents, the best thing to do is not to go as if your opinions are right.
Oh dear, what's happening to the internet?
You have to be open.
Oh, Dorinda.
And ready to take your scold. Sometimes you're ready to take their opinions on what you are doing, and be also that sort of thing.
But you have had to approach them before on a subject matter like that, right?
Yeah.
How did it go?
Well, similar to Danielle, my dad was cool and my mother was, well, interesting.
Oh my God. I thought that mothers were much easier when it comes to these things.
No.
Okay, now let's come to the studio. Just hang on there a little bit. I'll come back to you guys. Olivia, they say mothers are interesting when it comes to some of these things. But tell me, you have raised teenagers. Are equal to you?
Thank you. Thank you.
When it comes to this subject matter of emotions, because look, I've met teenagers. I've actually been a teacher before, right? You've met some of them who can be very angry, sometimes for weeks, who can decide that I will not talk to this teacher again because they feel that the teacher has overstepped. For their parents, because they are dependent on the parents, sometimes they will pretend around you, but they are not happy with you. Yeah. And again, if they think that you are unapproachable, then they're unable to talk to you about it. So, I mean, there are times you hear things like, they can't wait to leave home. You have conversations with them and they're like, right now, they don't have a choice. So you just manage it until such a time when they can actually leave home and leave your side. Have you had that experience where you know that your child is unhappy about something you probably have done, or something they are unhappy about something?
Yes, I've had that experience.
Did they approach you with it, or you noticed?
I noticed.
Okay.
And so I made
The move.
And that is why I find myself a little bit fortunate for the things I got to know before my children became teenagers.
Great.
So I became an informed parent, just like Notte was saying. And I think it's really, really helped me to be informed about some of these things, to understand that these developmental stages have a lot of implications.
Yeah.
Getting to know that about 90% of problems we face in adulthood is because of things we face during childhood really changed my perspective. And as a personal person who had depression when I was young because I wanted freedom with limitations, but I didn't get it, I was very, very careful on how I would communicate with my children. So when I see, though they don't come to me, I open up, I go to them.
So quite often they don't come.
They don't come.
I see.
I go to them. I ask, what is worrying you? The way I spoke to you, I know you didn't like it, but I mean, I was angry at that time. And then I ask, what would you like me to do? Sometimes when my kids fight, which is often when they are growing in these stages, I go to them differently and try to help them to reassess the situation, to change their mindset about it, especially my son, because my daughter is older than my son. So sometimes she wants to be, I am the big girl, and he is a man. And I know what is going on there for him. And I know how, if he doesn't take it in well, what is going to become for him when he grows up. And so learning the iceberg model of coaching really helps me to know that there are a lot of things that go in down there that we have no idea, and then we grow up and those are the things that comes up for us. So I go to them individually after the fight and I try to let them talk about it and share how they feel. Sometimes my son, I know you are angry, but she's your sister. Forgive her, and she's your sister. You have to I try to let her come out and express the emotion, but most of the time they don't come. But because I'm an informed parent, I do the work. So as Notte is saying, we need more informed parenting. If you are just there saying, I'll buy the clothes, I'll take you to the school, I'll get you all the good things, but you are not informed of the stages they are going through and how to support them so that emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually they will balance out well, then you've done a bit and left a very big one out there.
I see. Okay, let me hear from Mr. Afo, and then I will come back to what I was thinking about when you were talking.
Well, Edem, let me say good morning to everybody. Hi, students.
Your children.
I've been listening, and it's quite very, very exciting hearing that these are things you really worry about. Edem, listening to Notte, a clinical psychologist, I think that schools have a lot to do.
Plenty.
Honestly. In my own small way, I mean, what we call PSHE, personal, social, health, economic education, may not necessarily be part of the curriculum of schools. But I think that as teachers, we must, in our own small way, find out ways of dealing with these issues. Because if you listen to Notte very well, we are there. And they will bear me out that these are things I talk about. Sometimes a whole hour of teaching will be talking about these things. And the kind of things they are saying are things that are real. They are not making them up at all. I think that we need to understand the fact that we will get there. And when Kwabena, for example, talks about the fact that at school you must focus on your books, I cannot agree with him more, because you see, there's only one thing you have to do as a child to actually show that your parents have actually invested in you. You are in school. you are there to learn. Of course, you are there to socialize as well. But at what point in time do we now consider socialization as more important than the reason why we're in school? That is where a lot of them talk about the balancing act. Now, there are instances that I've had students come to me and tell me, "Myself, I have a personal problem." And once they say that, they are not expecting you to share. Now, sometimes you can make jokes around it because you see, if it's affecting one student, chances are that it's affecting others. Except that some of them bottle these things in. So when you get one of them come to you and say, "Mr. Alpha, let's talk," then after the discussion, you need to find a way of making sure everybody knows about the fact that this situation exists. Because we cannot assume that it's only one person who goes through emotional changes and challenges. There are a lot of students who will break down and cry when they're getting ready for exam. And these are things that actually affect their being. And so I am only saying that as teachers, and I'm sure I'm here because I'm a teacher, we need to look at how we can fully understand our students, because as I said earlier, we are parents as well. The fact that we are not teaching our children in our schools does not make us just teachers and not parents.
Sure.
It's important for us to understand that once a parent decides to bring their children to your school, they see you as a responsible teacher, and that is the only thing they expect from you. Sometimes you even have to start a conversation with the parent before you even come to the child. It's important. You know, what children actually, if I call them children, I'm sure I'm going to get into trouble. But this is it, that they want people they can confide in, people whose lives can be emulated.
Sure.
And that is what we are getting wrong as a society. So I think that if I want to talk about this, we have to go back to the policy and look at how we even train people to become teachers.
Yeah.
Because, Edem, it's a big deal. It's really a big deal.
It's
really a big deal. We need to look at that.
So 0302216541. I want to hear what other parents at home have to say with the things we have talked about so far. And if you have a question to ask, you can just raise your hand and then we will let you ask a question, or you have a thought you want to share. Emanuela, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
You're great. You're doing well. Might you want to say anything? You have any thoughts you want to share? Not immediately.
No.
Okay. Hi, Luther.
Hi,
How are you?
fine, thank you.
Do you have anywhere to go today?
No,
Oh, today you're doing chores.
yeah,
You know what I am talking about. So
Yeah.
0302216541 would like to take your thoughts. But for your eye care challenges, look no further. Amasha Partners Limited and Eye Care has it all. Your eyes deserve the best care and quality designer eyeglasses. Amasha Partners and Eye Care undertake the following services: supply of designer frames, sight testing, supply of lenses, sunglasses, contact lenses, ophthalmologist in attendance, and general treatment. You can locate us at La Opposite Trade Fair, Spinters, adjacent ICGC, before Community 18 Junction, McCarthy Hill, opposite Benjay Lodge, North Kaneshi, Swan Lake, opposite Green Hand Junction. Achimota, they are on the second floor in the Dainswa Plaza. When you go to Takrady, locate them at Axim opposite. That's when you go to Takrady. In Axim, you will find them opposite the CBG Bank. Ho, they are opposite Housing Junction. Kumasi, they are at the airport roundabout. Kolebu, they are opposite the ECG and Koforidua Central Hospital Road. Tema, you will find them inside the Meridian Plaza. You can contact them on 0302-939850 and then 0302-778827. Numbers again, 0302-939850 and 0302-778827. You can follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The majesty of God goes beyond human understanding. On Sunday, the 28th of August, 2022, join Perez Music, Emoji, Akese Brimpong, Efe Grace, and all the way from Nigeria, Peter, as we present Glorified, a gospel music concert by Perez Music under the theme Splendor and Majesty. Venue is the Victory Bible Church headquarters, Awoshi. Grab a token for 50 Ghana cedis single and 80 for double and 100 cedis VIP at Joy FM, Sunny FM, Starts, Supermarkets, Dansoman, Bachona Total, and Victory Bible Church Bookshop, or simply dial star 365 star 321 hash on all networks to purchase a ticket. Glorified by Perez Music is powered by Joy Entertainment. We are large and in charge. Having your baby try out different tastes and flavors isn't just about giving them a change of taste. This helps to develop their palates and prepares them better for accepting variety of adult foods as they grow. So go ahead and try any of our 6 Cerelac variants: the wheat, the maize, the rice, biscuity, fruit pieces, and my personal favorite, millet. Remember, each bowl of Cerelac contains goodness that helps your child's normal growth and development. Cerelac, it's all good, ma'am. This advert is FDA approved. And let me remind you that Pentecost Hour, a religious broadcast program sponsored by the Church of Pentecost, comes your way with the chairman of the Church of Pentecost, Apostle Eric Nyamiche, on Joy 997, 9:30 p.m. every Monday. And this has been ongoing since the 14th of March 2022. So join Apostle Nyamiche as he brings you life-transforming truth that nourishes the soul, ignites passion, and restores hope in the nations. The Church of Pentecost, we are possessing the nations for the Lord. And yay, the Joy Jingle Challenge is on. All you have to do is have fun with us by joining the Joy Jingle Challenge. So we're asking you, are you creative? Are you good at mimicking or miming? If you are, grab your phone right now, swipe open to TikTok or any of our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, that is at Joy997, and follow the page. Next, you have to search for the video labeled the Joy Jingle Challenge. It's a video of, somebody with very beautiful lips, singing along all the Joy Jingles. Have fun miming along, and let's see if you are able to do it better than the original. And let me say that, look, we have had a lot of videos coming. Wow, beautiful. You've seen some of them. Oh, you have to do one. It's so beautiful. And back then, it was just a one camera shot. And 17 years ago, still very relevant. But when we have asked the children of today to do it, a lot of the young ones have joined. You should see the things they are doing. You should see the things they are producing. And we're asking you to do more, because you just might be on your way to Dubai just by having fun. When you do, after recording yours, post it on your own timeline, tag us at Joy997 and hashtag Joy Jingle Challenge. And then get your friends to like it. Get your friends to engage with it, because the more engagement you get, the more chances you stand. And so get them to like, love, share it, and then you just might be on your way to Dubai. Now, do we have any caller on the line? If we don't, let me come back to us. I have a message here. Good morning, Edem.
Hello.
Please. Okay, hold on a second. I'm coming. Yes, hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
And then please, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
By God's grace, I'm good too.
Please, who am I speaking with?
Please, this is Rukia.
Oh, Ruki, how are you?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
Great. What's up?
Okay, so I don't have a teenager, but I'm really learning a great deal from the show. My boy is actually 7, but being a knowledgeable parent also helps you to raise them right.
Great.
But I have a concern I want to cut across.
Yes, please.
When it comes to dealing with the teenagers or dealing with the kids, I suggest we actually try and have a balance. Because they're actually parents who are living in the same room with their kids. There are so many in the room, but most often than not, the conversation becomes centered on, excuse me to say, the more or less the elites. So the kids talk and it sounds like, hey, they have it all. So if you can have a balance between kids who are so crowded or sort of isolated, how do you also deal with these issues? Because many of us are listening, and that's our situation. So you also know how to go about it so that there'll be a balance.
Thank you very much, Rukaya.
Okay.
Good morning. Okay, I am 41, and this subject makes me cry a lot, because my parents will not even allow you to express yourself and how you feel about issues. Up to date, I can't tell anybody what is really going on at 41. Both my dad and mom are no more, and I don't know who to trust to talk to. I always keep things to myself. I want to marry, but don't know who to talk to about it. Edem, seriously, there are things going on in the children that parents don't know about. My grandma raised me up, so imagine what she can talk to me about. It's sad, Edem. God bless you for this education.
She can
Wow.
talk to me.
At
I'll be willing to help you.
41,
Yeah, I like to
we'll
talk to
take your
him.
contact and put you up, with Olivia. So don't worry, you will definitely have somebody to talk to. Interesting. Now, please bring them back. I want to see them before we wrap up.
This is really interesting. I mean, sure,
Bring them
I like
up.
it.
Bring them back to me. I want to see them. Okay, so a parent and PK is a parent teacher and everything. I want to find out from you. Okay, no, let me go back to the students first, and then I will come back to us. I want to find out from us at this age, right now, as you're in school, you have allowances from your parents and everything. I want to find out from you, what is most important to you right now, apart from school? What is most important to you when you look at yourself and you think about tomorrow? What really is most important to you? Do you understand me? Yes, what really is most important to you right now that maybe your parents don't even know? By saying it here, it means they get to know, right? But tell me, what is most important to you? Who is going? I will call somebody. Oh, Ajwa. Hi, Ajwa.
Hi.
Yes.
Right now,
Mm-hmm.
other than my schoolwork and my academics, I'd say figuring out who I am and what I want to be is a priority to me as of now.
So how do you go about it? How are you trying to figure it out?
It's not a simple process because it's quite confusing when you don't really know where to start or how to move forward with it. I'd say right now I've been doing a lot of research and reading on my past passions and maybe hobbies I want to pursue. And then spiritually, I'm trying to be more open with my religion and be more comfortable with being a Christian. Yeah. So I feel like having a good support system would also help you to figure out who you are and who you want to be when you are older, I'm guessing.
And who are you having these conversations with? If you need to talk about it, who do you talk to?
I'd say my sister. I'd go to her if I maybe see myself going through a bit of a phase, or sometimes my parents.
Okay.
If the need be, yes.
Great. Who else wants to go? Chaitanya.
I'd
Apart
say
from
the
school right
same.
now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, apart from school, it's mostly just figuring out what I want to do in life, which is really tricky considering the amount of options we get. Yeah.
So you find yourself thinking about that a lot?
Yeah. It's less thinking about what I actually want to be, and it's more thinking about me not wanting to choose wrong.
Wow. Nice. Danielle.
Right now I'm focusing on, like, what I want to focus on is my mental health, because it affects a lot of our day-to-day lives, like a lot more than most people think. And not gonna lie, living in this African household, there's a lot of trauma that can occur from a lot of stuff that we need to keep in. And I think learning to articulate or find our way through all of it is what I'm dealing with at the moment.
Yeah, that's a very powerful trait.
Kukwa, share your thoughts with me. You're smiling a lot.
I just think her point about trauma is quite interesting. But but I think for me, my focus is living a happy life, a life that I am proud of. And it's not just so for example, from one of Uncle Ebu White's plays, you don't finish living and then you realize that okay, there are things I wish I had done, there are impacts I wish I had made. So it's just every single day should count. That's it for me.
Powerful,
Great.
powerful.
Thank you. I think I will give you one minute to wrap up. I have just 3 minutes to go. Hi, Note.
Hi, Adam.
Yes, please, in a minute. You want to wrap up
Well,
for us?
there's a
Time
lot
is up.
to say.
Wow.
It's great hearing from the teens.
Yeah, it's really great.
It's important for us to be able to get to a point where, as parents, you can distinguish between a typical, or I don't like the word normal, typical teen and a troubled teen. Okay? There are some flags that I wish we had been able to, list and indicate that may show that your child, your teenager is having challenges that are beyond the norm, right? That's the important thing. The other thing I think is very critical is that both teens and parents need to know there's a reason why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Okay? A lot of listening needs to go on. A lot of good, meaningful, effective, sincere, reciprocal communication needs to take place for this to work.
Great.
Right? So whilst you might say, Dad, I want to talk to you, Mom, I want to talk to you, be prepared to listen. Okay, that's where you pick up the things, and that's where you can inform your next question or your next request.
Sure.
Same for parents. You don't just go out there and sermon and preach and use veto power. You must also use your ears. Indeed, parents, you must be listening with more than just your ears. You must use all your senses. You must know your child. You must pick up the signal. So let's know that this is a two-way process. It may differ depending on which of your children you're dealing with, and which of the issues you're dealing with, and which of the ages you're dealing with. So let's all know that at some point in time, we may need help. It may be informal help. It could be a sibling of yours who's an auntie to your child or an uncle. It could be church. It could be the school, and so on. And it could be professional help. There's nothing whatsoever wrong with seeking help. Nobody has parented alone or in a vacuum. So if we understand all of these things, then sometimes don't get defensive because your child seems to open up to an auntie or grandma or a teacher, right? It depends where they find their level of comfort.
Note,
And they really know that they are telling somebody to get to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Note. I like the bit about, being able to identify whether your teen is troubled or not, and we will make time to have that conversation. I think it will be a whole conversation that we will have. Unfortunately, right, PK and I'm unable to come back to you. We need to wrap up on the show. But it's been all good. Thank you all very much for joining and for doing the listening and for viewing. This has been our teen month. We have a lot more to do. Next week I will announce the next thing we are going to be doing and doing. It's not stopping. So make sure your teenager is joining in the conversations, whether they are crowded in a room or they are living, in Keji or Keta, wherever they are. Once you hear the call, let them join. The principles are the same. Yeah. So let them join and then also help and let them join and be able to learn and to grow. Daniela, Barbie, everybody in the background, thank you very much. God bless you. PK, thank you very much.
Welcome.
You have been phenomenal, instrumental in all of this. Ariel, the wellness coach, God bless you. And to all of you who joined the call, thank you. God bless you. We value your thoughts. We will do a lot more. My name is Edem Knight-Tay, and thank you. Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.